since our encounter. The presence of Krysthala had stayed with me. The seducement of my steel armor had deceived me, as my Atman is much stronger than metal. I began to reach clarity of the path. The colors sound vivid, and the sight crystalline. How have I been hidden to such beauty, such union? I have turned to Hiba for guidance with this new spectrum, and have found goodwill. One's back is vulnerable unless one has a brother. On our second day, we began our scale up Mount Niflheim. Hiba, much smaller and ill-equipped, uses his trance to walk as an orb hound through the ice breeze. I choose to bask in it. In the thickest of the gale, we had come across a monk, asana, at the edge of a peak.
I still feel the resonance of the wave, the glimpse of inner being connecting to all. My sisters, Khanda, Bahad, Vapa, and Mahan, overjoyed with such visions. But Baba and Nimma remained silent. Now, I understand why. It was that night that Rak's kimonos began scavenging through Mana Umi, destroying it in their path. It was not until the kimonos reached the upper levels, where we stayed in our domo, that I had met one of these loathsome creatures at the doorway. From the edge of Mount Daiki, the kimono lunged inside the domo. Battling with Baba, Nimma, lacking in expression, stood dormant, studying. I lead my sisters out of the domo, and we ran down the corridors, yowling for help. Then, only age 10, it seemed it was all we could do. If only I knew then what I know now, a curse or a blessing, the predicament of time. I looked back at the entrance of the domo, and I saw Baba's body flung out the doorway, down the alleyways of Mana Umi. I sank in despair. Ninma's voice filled our minds. My loves, extinguish the flames of passion, aversion, and ignorance. Understand the will of existence and liberate yourselves from this cycle. Dukkha, Samudaya, Nirodha, Magga. Chandana, the mountain of our people, and study in peace. Go now and Chandana. It was the last. We were in the presence of her voice. We scaled up the wall of Mount Daiki, and by morning we stood at the foot of Mount Kailasa. The pilgrimage to the peak was no easy feat. Numbing pain and exertion of energy never conjured. It was our bond that warmed us at night. And it was Ninma's words that kept us moving up. Mahan grew weak on the third day. Carrying her, we arrived at the summit on the fourth day. Master Sojobo stood at the peak, glaring down at us. He flies down, revealing his avian form, the long white hair draping his body.
How have the 5 dying climbed so high? One must be free of sinfulness, and you are direct offspring of such.
I am Azaji. These are my sisters. We are of the Bosatsu tribe, Elysian. The Chadana of this mount was our only option. The city of New Yeshua has been taken over by a foul presence. our Baba and Ninma are no more. I fear my sister Mahan is near undoing. We have no place else to go. I am afraid. If you refuse to assist us, then you are just as sinful.
Then fear no longer, daughters of Bosatsu, for we shall cease samsara altogether.
For 10 years we trained, studied, and practiced with Master Sojobo. The first years were mostly silence, asana at various points of the mountain. Empty mind, a flow of energy. Our Shugendo study became fundamental in our practice. Through initiative, heedfulness, restraint, and self-control, the wise would make an island no flood can submerge. Then came the principles of Akai, the art of balancing mind, body, and spirit, in joining opposing forces within yourself, and using eternal strength to merge them as one. It took much patience and will, but we had become masters of our studies and Kai energy. Konda became unique in the ability to control water. Bahad, unique with the power to shape stone. Vapa, unique to manipulate the wind. And Mahan, unique in her capacity to form and control fire. I became sensitive to the spirit realm, and it to me, allowing me to manifest ether energy out of the realm into ours. Before Master Sojobo could show us our final lesson, a raid of Tengu arrived at Mount Kailasa, disrupting our progress. They sought Sojobo's fan of 7 feathers, the amulet of the Tengu tribe.
They're addicted to heedlessness, dullards, fools, while one who is wise cherishes heedfulness as his highest wealth.
A battle lasted several weeks. My sisters and I had aided Sojobo to the best of our ability, but we were outmatched. Eventually, the Tengu retreated, taking my sisters with them. In disapproval of Sojobo, without hesitation, I began pursuit. Now, at the edge of a cliff on Mount Niflheim, I sense a gathering of trapped Atman in a temple above. But I also anticipate forces undoubtedly surpassing mine. I wait asana until given a sign, who inevitably arrive.
At the summit on the 4th day, we meet Hel, the blue sorceress, a grace to my sight. Without a word, she leads us inside an opening of the mountain to her temple. Hiba, Azaji, and I had entered a spree of indulgence. An assemblage of Nephilim lay with each other, and with sisters of the dying taken as possessions. Behemoths of savagery and cannibalism. We would seek no safe passage here on Creed. A righteous power invokes my stance. Kundalini aligned, I volley a quake to the temple, and hexagonal patterns of light scatter out and up the temple walls. The Nephilim, enraged, begin to charge. On my first strike, my blade of Alagos is turned to black sand, and the immoral giant pelts me down. Hiba shifted Orbhound and ruptures the jugular of my foe. Between my fist of quartz, Hiba's Fenris jaw, and Azaji's ether blares, we diminish the 6 Nephilim on the 6th day. Hel reappears, now a withered woman, and takes us to the spring of Hevelglamir, where we are told to reach into the waters and obtain what it was we had came for. With Hiba's hand in the spring, Hel begins a most disheartened laugh. The mighty dragon Nidhogg appears from out of the waters. Tormented by the actions of Hel and her breaking of oaths with the Nephilim, the dragon swallowed her whole. The mighty Nidhogg instructs us to meet Krysthala at the Temple of Nippur. Before retreating back into the spring of Hevelglamir, the dragon presents to me a magnificent hammer made of the essence of the Allfather. To Hiba, the Inuit fetish made of the Bork of Yggdrasil, and to Azaji, the Suzu Gong of Bosatsu. After a trek back down the White Mountain, we came into contact with other foul beasts, looking to steal our newly awarded gifts. It was not until the 9th day that we arrived in Nippur.
The owl led the way south, and on the 3rd day, the entrance to Naraka appeared on the horizon. As I descended a flight of stairs, a dense weight developed the further I went down into this realm. I began to hear shouts of grief, screams for help, agony. My brothers and sisters, what had besieged you? Arms from out the walls reach at me, and in the cracks of the stairs, I see an abyss of stars, swirls of light, clusters of ever-expanding cosmos. Muerte, a vision, sits drumming a most hypnotic rhythm at the bottom of the stairs in the middle of a catacomb. I sit in front of her and begin to play a siren flute lying on the ground, along with her rhythm. In a wovina of vibrational time, we meet for eras and what seems like for eternity. We intertwine. Encircled by the spirits kept in Naraka, I became lost, at a point in darkness, at a point in light, spinning, spiraling, the closer the more glorious. A love so noble, so instant, unbound, with no remorse. Unconditional sacrifice of self to become one with another, and then the fear and loss, imbalance, irrational, spiteful, desolate, abounded, abused, obsessed, all in one. On the 6th day, she stops playing and speaks.
We would not be talking if I did not sense the spirit of the early mother, of myself within you. I am smitten, Krysthala. You have shown me true love, and for this I will assist you. Yama will be arriving shortly with the fawn. He won't be expecting you here, so you have this at your advantage. You must escape with the fawn, unnoticed, or Yama will notify Kalam of your presence, notifying Zail. Of course, you know not of Zail. How could you? You intend to return to New Yeshua, but you will certainly become the martyr and die. Stay here with me, and then you will know such a fate.
This has plagued my mind. There is no other fate I'd consider. But if it were not the path of Asa, then that faith hath been chosen. I fear not what awaits at death, for I have already met her. Muerte collects a single teardrop in a vial and tells me to drink it, prohibiting Yama from seeing me temporarily. In actuality, she returns my Atman. As I await the arrival of Yama, I notice in the reflection of water, my physical appearance had transformed. I was no longer the Krysthala that entered Naraka. That person had died, along with my fears and terrors. A multi-dimensional rotating object appears, and out, Yama holding the fawn, with a noose around his neck. Yama persists on hitting the fawn with a stick, causing it immense pain, yelping. There are many here among us who feel that life is but a joke. But you and I, we've been through that, and this is not our fate. So let us stop talking falsely now. The hour's getting late. I took it as a sign. I had never heard anything of it. I deliver a fluorescent beam towards Yama, knocking him back, letting go of the noose, which the fawn quickly removes. He looks directly into my eyes in tune. Give me your hands, 'cause you're wonderful. We are immediately teleported out of Naraka into a time flux.